Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? I am jeffgrantMEDIA. In today's video, we're going to do an update on my Ironheart 634s. Now, these are the IH-634s-14ii, which means IH, Ironheart, 634, the style, this is the straight fit jean, S for selvage, 14 ounces, II, indigo, and indigo for the indigo warp, and the indigo weft of these jeans. Now, I checked, I've had these for about 9 months now, and these are one of basically my other pair. If I'm reviewing a pair of jeans, I'm basically wearing the pair of jeans I'm reviewing and then these, and so they're always in rotation, except for the past month or so, why they were sitting around waiting to be hemmed, which is why we're doing this video. 14-ounce Ironheart denim is thicker and heavier than any other 14-ounce denim that I've had. It's the way it's measured is the 14-ounce of, well, the ounces of your selvage denim comes by a square yard. So think of a 3 foot by 3 foot square. They take that, they weigh it. That's the ounces of your jeans. So people think the thickness of the jeans is the ounces. So the heavier, the bigger the ounce, the thicker the jean, which is generally what it equates to. But it's not actually referring to the thickness, it's referring to the weight of the jeans. Now, you may see something that's like a 21 to 23 ounce, and that's generally unsanforized. These are sanforized, which means the shrink has been removed. These have been treated so they are not shrunk, or so they're pre-shrunk. So when you wash these, you may experience a little bit of shrinkage, but you're not going to get, like a size or two of shrinkage. Where unsanforized denim, it's going to shrink to fit. So if you want your jeans to fit with unsanforized denim, you have to buy them a size or maybe a couple sizes bigger, depending upon how much that denim might shrink. But when it shrinks, the pre-shrunk ounces might be 21 ounce. The post-shrunk would be 23 because all of that same material has now condensed. So that same 3 foot square that you're measuring is now thicker and heavier, which is why you'll see unsanforized denim. You'll have generally 2 weights, but these are sanforized, which is why they are 14 ounce. But again, 14 ounce in Ironheart is like thicker, beefier, and bulkier than any other 14 ounce selvage denim I've had. And the reason that I got these hemmed was because these, like most selvage, come at 36 inseam, which is fine, mostly. I would either have to double or triple cuff these, depending upon if I was wearing them with shoes. Boots, double cuff. Sneakers, sometimes a triple, depending upon how low the sole was. But when I got home from work and I kicked off my boots or shoes, I had to do at least a triple cuff, or else I'd be walking on them. And that's not generally a big deal, but because these are so beefy, they were kind of bulky by the ankle, and I was getting that like swish sound, like as I'm walking, the cuffs would be rubbing against each other at times, and it just became a little annoying, and they're just bulky, so I decided to get them hemmed. Now, there is a newer shop. They've been around for, I think next month they'll be around for a year, which is kind of cool shop. It's called Yuzo. It's in Dixon City, PA. They actually took over an old location. It was called Clem's Shoes. It was an old guy, had a boot shop. I believe he was also a cobbler. I was only ever in that store once or twice, but it's been a long time. I believe they closed before we closed the store that I used to work at. So he closed probably early 2000s or before. But it was a cool, eclectic old shop, so they took over the space, and it's now like a menswear store. He does sell like women's Red Wing Heritage boots, but he has some Red Wing Heritage. He's got some selvage. He's got a bunch of different menswear clothing lines, and it's a nice little tiny. It's not a big shop, but he recently got a chain stitch machine, so I decided I was going to test out his hemming abilities on my Ironhearts. So the one other thing about these jeans specifically is that these had tonal matching stitching throughout the jeans. So he did his best to match the stitching that he used with the original stitching, and I think he did a pretty good job. You could see he's got more stitches per square inch than Ironheart did, and to be honest, most people would probably prefer more stitches per square inch, but I do think that the original Ironheart was a little bit cleaner done, but again, I'm not gonna hold it against him. He's still relatively new to the game, and overall, the quality of his work was pretty good. Now, I did want to have these hemmed down to a 33-inch inseam so I could still get my cuff. So let's check to see how well he nailed it. Okay, please don't mind, I still do not have an overhead rig set up in this room, so I'm going to do my best. So if I take this, And I pull it all the way down. Actually, they kind of curled up a little bit. We are actually at a 32 inseam on the left leg. Again, we're at a 32-inch inseam on the right leg. I'm gonna try and hold it. Yes, I took my thumb off the other side, but you can see we're right about a 32-inch inseam on both legs. And I did use a tailor's tape for that. This is actually a super old Carhartt tailor's tape that I had from when I worked at the Army Navy store. Probably this tape's gotta be 25, 30 years old, but I still have it, and it's still old and reliable. So we did miss the mark though by a whole inch. I asked for a 33-inch inseam and I got a 32-inch inseam, which honestly, it's not that bad. My actual inseam, if I wanted to measure to have pants that don't drag, would probably be, I think it's like a 29.5. So 32 gives me enough inseam to still cuff. But the only thing that I didn't think through on, and this is completely my fault, has nothing to do with the workmanship or the fact that he missed by an inch on the length, was the fact that I had already been wearing these jeans for 9 months, so I already had fade marks where my old cuffs would be. So if I want to now cuff these for the cuff length that I normally would like, you can see the fade lines from where the old cuffs were. So I can either cuff these where I want them and have these 2 white circles around my legs, because that is where the bottom of the cuff once was, or I can make the cuffs a little bit smaller than I normally like and put them where the fade lines are from the previous cuffs, and I'll just have smaller cuffs, which really isn't a bad thing, but they are a little bit smaller than I normally like my cuffs to be. So I'm kind of on the fence whether I want my cuffs to be the size I want and see the fade lines, or if I want to cover up those fade lines and have the cuffs be a little bit smaller. And to be honest, if these pants were a little bit more faded overall and you saw a lot more of the white coming through, I probably wouldn't have even thought about this. I would just make the cuffs where I normally would like them. But because these pants are an indigo warp and an indigo weft, they are fading a little bit slower than normal, and they kind of get more shiny spots than fade spots. So I'm just a little bit torn. What do you think? Overall, the craftsmanship is great. Even if I cuff them where I normally want them and I have my larger cuffs, I don't have all that bulk that was once around my ankles. And even though they are an inch shorter than I did request them to be hemmed, they are not too short on me, because I intentionally wanted them to be 33 because I knew they probably would be a 32 to a 32.5. So I kind of expected this to happen, because the last time or two I had jeans hemmed and asked for them to be a 32-inch inseam, they actually came closer to a 30 or 31. So I intentionally asked for them to be longer than I needed them to be to compensate for just such an incident. She also does darning, so next time I need a repair done, maybe I'll test out his darning abilities and have him darn a pair of jeans or a jacket that needs to be fixed. But overall, I'm happy with the way my hemming job did come out. He did a really good job at tonal matching the stitch, the thread that he did with the thread that was in the jeans. His turnaround time was about a month, but I did drop them off a little before Christmas. So we had the Christmas holiday, we had the New Year holiday. He was just busy. He's a small business owner, so I'm not gonna hold that against him. He did tell me it would probably be 2 weeks with the amount of work, and he did. You could see his workstation from the counter. He had a stack of jeans. He was doing a whole bunch of hemming. The last time I was in there, some older gentleman came in and dropped off like 6 pairs of pants to get hemmed. He also had a bunch of police uniforms hung up that he was sewing patches on for the police uniform. So he's quite busy. In addition to doing the retail side, he's doing a lot of sewing services. So I'm happy. I'm happy that he was busy, and I was happy to wait the 3 or 4 weeks because I had a holiday and because he's busy, because I'd like to see small businesses thriving, especially in this economy where everything's crazy expensive and people are trying to buy the things that they want the cheapest they could possibly find and screw the small businessman. I'm glad to see that a new small business that is about to turn a year old is doing really well and is so busy that I needed to wait a little bit extra time to get my pants, and I was more than happy to do so. So if you were looking to get some jeans hemmed and you're in the northeastern Pennsylvania area, Yuzo, they do have a website. I'll drop a link in the description box down below. He does do chain stitching, so you can get chain stitching. I don't know exactly when he got the machine, but I know it was a newer acquisition, which was one of the reasons I had not gotten them hemmed prior, because I really didn't want to send them out and then not have my jeans for, more than a month. I really didn't want to not have them for a month, but again, I dropped them off before Christmas, so we had Christmas and New Year's, and also small business that is busy. I'm not holding that against them. I'm more than happy to wait to see a brand new small business doing well. So overall, I'm happy. What do you think though? Should I cuff them where I normally want them, or should I cuff them at the old fade lines? Drop a comment down below. So if you like this video or any of my other videos, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell right next to it so you get notifications the next time I post a brand new video. Good night.